Aeolian Hall brings a lot of people together. I believe that there's some sort of magic in this place, and I believe that everybody that steps into Aeolian Hall for the first time will feel that magic.
The Aeolian Hall has quite a rich history in our community. It started actually back in the 1940s with a hall that burned down in the 1960s.
Clark Bryan bought the hall in 2004 and began the process of turning it over into a charitable organization. He's been able to do so much with starting El Sistema Aeolian, the Pride Men's Chorus, the Rebel Heart Collective, and again really raising that culture of excellence in East London.
I decided to launch a UNESCO and TED award-winning program called El Sistema here at the Hall. Wasn't sure if it was going to work in this community, but it's a free after-school music program for kids who would not normally have the opportunity to have an enriched music program.
A program like El Sistema has a huge impact on the youth in that it gives them confidence and it gives them the tools necessary to escape the poverty, whichever kind of poverty they're facing in all its different forms.
It's fun and very collaborative sometimes. People provide you a lot here.
I wanted to join because I really never got to be in programs like this because of my disabilities.
We have a wide range of socioeconomic backgrounds among our participants, so we have the opportunity for kids all over London from different backgrounds and ethnicities and family backgrounds to be able to be part of a team together without any of those barriers you might see with other traditional organizations.
Music to me is mostly my life because I love listening to it, and so joining this program made it better for me.
I already know 2 instruments. Wait, make that 3 because I know a bit of piano, violin, and a bit of recorder.
Some of the children are from refugee situations or they're immigrants. Just being around them and the joy that they have and learning from them has really, for me, been a personal growth.
Everything that I see in our programming, our education programs, is all about giving opportunities for people to be inspired and get different perspectives through art and culture. We launched Pride Men's Chorus London, what would normally be called a gay men's chorus in the rest of the world. We decided to open it up to men of all gender identifications. Its purpose is to enjoy music and through the experience of performance help open minds and hearts.
Clark and I just thought it would be a really good social experience for the kids to work together with Pride Men's Chorus. We first had that experience when we had a concert with Matt Alber and the men's chorus was singing backup. The
idea of the synergy between the men, many of whom were ostracized when they came out of the closet as gay men, and many of the children in our program, actually many don't have parents. So the idea of coupling up that socially has been a really remarkable thing for me, and we've already heard feedback about it and how it's positively impacting lives.
As soon as we heard and saw what potential that had, we said we got to do this more often. So we have done it twice since. When people perform music in a group, it's more than just music. It's also a group expression.
Aeolian Hall is unique in what it offers to London in terms of the arts and culture, in terms of what it is doing within Old East Village, but also the greater community.
The musical productions are structured with a view to try to make music accessible to everyone, different kinds of music accessible to everyone. So there's jazz, there's classical, there's roots, there's contemporary, there's singer-songwriter. There are all these different facets of this great field of music, and we try and bring some of each into the Aeolian because they each have kind of their own demographic and their own audience.
We launched a new professional orchestra called Rebel Heart Collective, trying to change the lens on classical music and the access point to classical music.
I don't think we should distinguish between classical music and other kinds of music. I think that there's some barriers that are artificial that shouldn't be there. I know that the experience I have of teaching, I've been teaching for a long time, that I have students who say to me that music's made them a better person.
Being a classical pianist and coming from that tradition, I really believe that serious changes need to happen because it is still very much held in the hands of the elite in our society, which was never the intention.
Aeolian Hall is a really professional venue from the way that it's run, the ticket sales, the people that come here, they're all here to listen to music. They're music lovers. So for me, I always get the most nervous when I play here at Aeolian Hall because I feel like as soon as I step onto the stage, the people here are here for a show.
There is a kind of magical resonance to the place, and the moment you first make a note of music, it just rings through the hall in this magical way. And you know right away it's going to be an amazing concert. I hope Aeolian Hall is around for hundreds and hundreds of years. I think it's well on its way. I hope they keep the doors open and keep the music flowing because what they're doing there is very, very special. And I can't wait to see what's next.
So I sort of knew what I wanted from a performance hall, and when I walked into this space, I knew this is where I wanted our very first show to play.
You know, singing and making music is really important to me, but it's not all that music is about. It's about getting together.
When I play here, it always feels like I'm with friends. The hall itself is almost like a person to me.
There are all these facets in the Aeolian that are kind of bubbling away, and it's so different than most venues that you would see in terms of what they do. Here it's really limitless. It's a community in itself.
So I've never had a life without music. I can't imagine what that would be like. The hall is wonderful, the volunteers are fantastic, the people that are behind the scene, the ones that are working so hard at the bar, selling tickets.
The volunteer experience here is amazing. It's like extended family. Meet nice people and you become friends with lots of them.
We couldn't survive without the volunteers. The volunteers are the core of Aeolian and El Sistema. There's very few paid positions, so we really rely on the volunteers to do all the other jobs and make the hall run.
This place has a long history of being the center of its community, and I think because of Clark and the people that work here and volunteer here, it continues to have that role in this community.
The Aeolian Hall, it needs volunteers because it's a community centre, a focal point. It needs people who believe in what's happening.
Aeolian has grown in that when I first came, there probably were, maybe half a dozen, 10 shows in a month. Now, some months we can have a show 5-6 nights a week.
The future of Aeolian Hall, in my vision, is strong and bright, and it continues to grow more and more as a place where people come to have their soul nurtured in the performances that they experience.
I feel that we're an organization that's open to change and experimentation and risk-taking. Every program we've launched here, every step we've taken, we've never had the money to do it. Unfortunately, the majority of the world does not work that way. The majority of the world is paralyzed in fear and is not willing to take risks. So we hope to set an example of achievement through risk-taking as a really important role that it's maybe not one that people think of first and foremost, but the story of the Aeolian is basically against the odds.
If somebody is doing something good and it works and it's the right thing for the community, you can't not support it.
It's all about values in the end. It's all about who we are as people. We sometimes lose sight of where we're going, who we are, what we believe. And if the Aeolian can act as a catalyst to remind us of that, that is really in my heart to be at the foundation level for what we do here. Alex, great to see you today. Thank you so much for making the time for this conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So I always like to start out by asking musicians how they got the bug for music. Can you tell your story a little bit? I know it pretty well, but I want to hear.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure our listeners don't.
Of course I can. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I come by it pretty honestly. My parents are both musicians. My parents are both opera singers professionally, Ted and Irena Baerg, and so we grew up with music in the house, mostly classical music, mostly the music that they were learning at the time, my brother and I. And my brother picked up the drums, I picked up the guitar and the piano, and we played together at home all the time. And I've been in love with it since I was a really little kid.
Now you say classical, but I had the great opportunity to perform with your parents a number of times, and I happen to know that your mom was in Phantom of the Opera.
That's right. Yeah, in the early '90s. Yeah, she played Carlotta in Phantom of the Opera. And my dad, they both are kind of multi-genre performers. Yeah, they made the the most of their career was in opera and in classical music. And but my dad played Emile at Stratford and for the Stratford Festival in South Pacific. My mom was in the Phantom of the Opera in Toronto. So they both done a lot of really, really cool stuff. It definitely inspired both my brother and I to pursue it further. Yeah.
So what was that like, though, growing up with parents who were musicians, and I imagine out making music a lot of nights?
Yeah, I mean, it was just my parents were really good about never, like, whenever they had to leave, for example, for a contract or something, my mom and my dad would go away for weeks at a time, but they always made a point of saying, they never said like, I'm going to a concert, bye, and or leaving for 6 weeks to go play music or do a concert. They always made it clear that what they were doing was, we're going to work. I have to go on a business trip and go to work, so I'm going to be away for a while. And it made it, I think, easier for my brother and I to understand growing up that that music was their profession, was their job, that they weren't running out the door to go escape us or go do something that they liked more. It was always very, very clear to my brother and I that if they could pick anywhere to be, it would be at home with their family and with their kids and with their partner. But it's a job and they have to go do it, and they love their job. It's good to love your work, but they were going to work. And yeah.
So did you ever get a chance to sort of tag along on any of that?
Definitely. Yeah. We traveled a lot, particularly actually, my family moved to London when I was 6 years old and that was, my dad took over the UW Opera program as it was called at the time. And now it's just Western, but at Western. And at that point, before that point, I should say, they were traveling a lot more. My dad took the job at Western so that we could stay in one place and have some modicum of normalcy in terms of how we lived our life. Because before that, it was both of them going off on contracts for weeks at a time. They'd come home for a couple of weeks and just be off again. And my brother and I, in order to make that work, we had to kind of split time between, because often they weren't in the same place, or one of them was at home and one of them was away. So often it was I would go visit my dad in Calgary for a week that he was doing a contract there. And my brother would stay home with my mom when she was at home. And then my mom would go away and my dad was still there. And so I came home and we were with our nanny at the time or something. And then my dad would come home a day later. So we were traveling, we were jet set kids. I never knew the term unaccompanied minor before we had to travel all over the place. And like I've been on a plane by myself as a really little kid, where the flight attendants take you everywhere and they have people looking after you. Yeah.
Wow. So you had lots of choices, I'm sure, for getting involved in music, and you settled on a few, I guess.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, so like my musical background outside of my family would be like when I was very, very little, I actually started on violin. I took violin lessons for, that was pre 6 years old. And then stopped doing that and started taking piano when we moved to London, and just kind of fell in love with guitar from a distance. And that was when my parents did the really cool parent thing and bought me my first guitar. And my dad played a little bit, so he showed me like a thing or two on the guitar. And I picked it up mostly myself. I think I had a couple of lessons when I was really little, but mostly I've just been self-taught all my life. So it just from a young age, being a multi-instrumentalist was something that came very naturally, just based on, I took lessons in this, stopped, took lessons in that, then picked up guitar on my own. And from that point on, as I got older, it kind of became something I could use the diversity of it in my skill set and turned it into a career. So I started playing in pits and theaters and stuff, playing guitar and keys and that sort of thing. And I had started singing like in high school. It was something obviously I loved and came by honestly through my parents, and was singing in high school, decided I wanted to go to Western for voice, tried that, didn't love it, left and went and studied the production side of it. So I mean, in terms of my musical background has been all over the place, and only in the past few years have I kind of come, the past few years before the world shut down, but just before that happened, I was spending the vast majority of my time kind of split between musically directing and singing and performing on stage and stuff like that, in all kinds of shows.
So did you guys have like, I just trying to imagine this with two parents who are singers. Like, did you have like this family sing time together? Or?
I mean, it's funny. Yes. The answer is yes, but it was mostly like on special occasions. It wasn't like we would come home from school and like sing hellos and it wasn't all singing music all the time. And it's funny because we didn't, like, when I say there was music in the house growing up, what I mean is that like it was the music that they were making, because my parents didn't you come home from a long day of like an 8-hour day of rehearsal of making music or something. The last thing you want to do necessarily, at least for my family, is like throw on an album. Like right. You've been listening to music for 8 straight hours. You come home, you're like, maybe just like a little bit of quiet before I go to bed. So like a lot of the time at home was spent, going over stuff that they were learning, but never really putting music on or anything. So any of the music that was in the house was stuff we made. And even then, on special occasions, we always joke about how Happy Birthday is a bit of a spectacle whenever we're like invited to a birthday party or something and the whole family's there and we all sing in 4-part harmony. That definitely does happen. and then like around Christmas time, like I'll sit down at the piano and just play the changes of Christmas carols and that sort of thing, and everyone will sing along, from the kitchen and the living room, like at different corners of the house and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about your work. You said, production.
Yeah.
So what does that really mean?
So I went to the Ontario Institute of Audio Recording Technology here in London. Like when I left Western, when I decided I didn't want to, pursue classical music as a career, took a bit of time off of school and then decided, kind of got bit by the bug of recording studio production and that sort of thing. So I applied to OEART and studied there it's a year-long program and graduated from there. I love music production, like recording, and I love the tech side of it. And as much as I love performing, it's like, nothing gives me more of a thrill than being on stage in front of real live people. I miss it more than anything. But I also love, this is like my unfinished basement in my house that I put like just sheets up on the wall just to corner off a part of the house. It's like, not that it does anything for audio, but that it's just, I have this like office space that I can sit down in whenever I have a moment to tinker with new sounds and mic techniques and that sort of thing and just playing around. I love it.
So when you studied, obviously OEART has a really big focus on recording, right?
Yeah.
What about the live sound aspect?
Yeah. I mean, actually, Christoph, who runs audio at Aeolian, was my live audio teacher at OEART when I was there. He was at OEART when I was there. And the man is just an absolute genius. And like, I love performing and I love kind of the thrill of performing. Whenever I've done live audio, which I've done quite a few times, I don't think I have the blood pressure for it. Like I get so stressed out doing live audio. Like I just want to I don't like things not being in my control. So when things
like performers,
yeah,
crank up their amps and things.
Yeah,
like
exactly. So if I'm like tinkering alone in my studio, I can control every little aspect of the sound, right? But then in live audio, there are all these variables, and the moment anything goes wrong, my blood pressure just goes through the roof. Like it's a thrill, but like I leave it to the masters, like Christoph, and I show up with my guitar and plug in and say, "Do your worst. Do what you do."
That some nights, when you have the divas, but he manages to keep his cool. I do get an earful afterwards, but So are you working on any specific projects then with recording or?
Yeah, I mean, so kind of late 2019, because I spend the vast majority of my year when everything is open, I've spent the vast majority of my time at the Victoria Playhouse in Petrolia. And I have performed there for years throughout their summer season and then into the fall and in the Christmas shows and everything. And I, despite, being in the same place all the time and having this knowledge of production, I had never put together any kind of album to put up for sale at the shows. And late 2019, of course, was the year I was like, this is the year I'm going to do it. I'm going to make an album. I'm going to sell it next year, the summer of 2020 at the theater in Petrolia. And of course, I got, 3/4 of the way through producing this album and everything shut down. So I kind of put it on the back burner for a little while and everyone was just trying to make ends meet. Nobody knew what was going on at that time. Then about, last fall, like August, September, like late summer, early fall, I picked up the recordings again. Like I opened them up on my computer and I was like, okay, yeah, these are actually not bad. Maybe I should keep working on this. So now I've finished this. Now I've finished this CD of cover albums and quite a few of them are in the show that I'm doing for Aeolian. And my hope is to get it up on, because it's not like I can go anywhere and sell physical copies of it. So I think the goal is just I'm going to end up getting it up on streaming services for people to enjoy. I'm hoping before the end of the month it'll be up. So,
will you keep us posted on that? Because I'm sure many of our listeners would love to download that.
Nice.
So it's COVID, and we all wish we had a crystal ball, right? You know, it's so funny because we now have an official recording studio at the Aeolian, and of
Right.
course, then we fell under, you know, recording studios can continue to work, but then they changed the regulations to make it movie and television only, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When is this going to? When are we going to be able to get people back on that stage safely and and can continue at least with the virtual recordings? What do you see ahead for the industry coming out of this?
Oh man. I mean, I try to stay positive about it. And like obviously there's a lot that, and I have bad days. Like there are plenty of days when I wake up and I'm just like, what is going on? What are we gonna do? There's no end in sight. Like, how are we gonna get through this? But I also have a lot of days where I look at everything that the industry has managed to push through at this time, and everyone has done. Like, I think it came up in my memories on Facebook that like summer of last year I posted a status that was like, you know, shout out to all my performer and musician friends who have suddenly been required to learn how to be professional audio and video guys too. But the fact is that, like, we've also now spent a year doing that, and a lot of people can produce really amazing content at home and, you know, virtually and remotely anywhere. And I think the knowledge of technology going forward isn't something that people are gonna be as quick to just like put behind them and just go right back to the way things were. I think we have the positive side of me that on the days when I'm feeling positive, I think to myself, like, we're all going to come back with a whole lot more knowledge about, you know, a well-rounded theater experience, from live on stage to virtual content to sharing live streams and pre-filmed things and pre-recorded things. And we're going to come back with like a real sense of purpose and intention. And I think every time I think about it, and every time I think about that, you know, that first time I'm hopefully going to be able to get back up on stage in front of people, something I've realized is like, there's no chance that I'm ever going to take for granted the joy of the work that we get to do when we're on stage in front of people. I see the industry coming back and being stronger than ever, and everyone pushing forward with a huge sense of intention. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's made me very optimistic today. Thank you.
Oh, good. That's great.
Well, you're having trouble during the day. I have trouble at night sleeping.
Yeah.
Stuff, you know, just how we're going to keep the doors of Aeolian open long enough to welcome people back.
Yeah.
You know, the revenue streams pretty much non-existent now for over a year. So, but I agree with you. You know, we plan to keep the virtual possibilities open, not just for the live stuff, but also for our education programs. An opportunity to really augment and reinforce what we're doing on a pedagogical side, but also reach perhaps beyond our geographic catchment and offer music to more kids, you know.
That's the idea.
Yeah. So do you want to just maybe tell me a little bit about the music that you're going to perform for us?
Yeah, for sure. So I have spent a lot of my, career, my professional career in the past, 5 to 10 years, putting on and being a part of these staged concert shows at the Victoria Playhouse, where a lot of them are, so some examples of the shows that we've done there that I've been a part of. I was a part of Rocky Mountain High, the songs of John Denver, or I was a part of You've Got a Friend, the songs of James Taylor and Carole King. And then, some other examples would be, Summer of '69, and it's all music that came out or charted in the year 1969. And these kind of like really, really strongly themed concert shows. Well, one of the shows that I absolutely fell in love with the cast and the content that we were doing was a show called Folks Like Us. featuring, it also featured, one of our favorite Londoners, Sarah Smith. She was in that show as well. And we all just kind of connected in that show. Everyone really understood what it was. And it was a tribute to folk music. And I have always loved folk music since I was a little kid. I loved the idea of, just someone with just their acoustic guitar and an idea can tell a story in song. And I've loved that since I was really young. So the music I chose for this Phoenix Sessions concert is all my favorite folk music. We've got some Canadian artists and some American artists, and artists like Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, James Taylor, even Stan Rogers and the Rankins, and some East Coast of Canada folk music. Leonard Cohen, of course, as well, and Bob Dylan, and just a few of the artists that we're exploring. So, and I hope that I can educate a little bit on some of the cool stories about those artists who, like, one of my favorite things is how all of those artists interacted together. And they all knew each other, and they feel like these distant sort of legendary figures now because of the iconic nature of their careers, but they were local musicians once too. And it was just through perseverance, like we're all experiencing now, that they became the massive stars that they are. So
it's amazing too. London has quite a history with folk music.
Yes, yeah.
We're going to be featuring Valdi coming up this month as well, and that's another folk icon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I first met him, good grief, it must be 15 years ago, and just couldn't believe, as you said, how people can tell a story and make such a fulfilling experience of just the voice and a guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
So that sounds like a wonderful concert, and we're so looking forward to it, Alex. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. And
absolutely,
let's try and get you on that real stage.
Oh, yeah. That sounds good.
If we can just get to that point this fall, I will be so happy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be in touch too.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thanks again for taking the time, and good luck with everything. And thank you for your music for this series. It means a lot to the Aeolian and all our listeners.
Thank you. Well, the Aeolian means so much to this city, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. So I appreciate it very much.
Okay. Well, take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, sweet darling, let's go dancing tonight. My clock has been ticking, tells me the timing's just right. Well, I woke up this morning with a feeling I call it lonesome and blue. Well, there's no need in asking, 'cause I know you feel the same way too. Hey, sweet darling, let's lay the whole thing down. 'Cause this world, if you let it, well, drive you into the ground. Well, I got $20 and no, it'll get us by the door. And the band starts playing. How could they ask us for more? We may do the bump and grind, shake around our little behinds, do some things that you normally do on a Saturday night. That's alright. We may drink a little too much, maybe lose our fancy touch, oh, step out of line line of reality. That's the way it should be. Yeah, yeah. And there's no need in asking, 'cause I know you feel the same way too. Hey, sweet darling, a lot of our words have been unkind, but that was yesterday. Why don't we leave the past behind? Well, you know that I love you, and I know that I will always be true. Well, there's no need in asking, 'cause I know you feel the same way too. We may do the bump and grind, shake around our little behinds, do some things that you normally do on a Saturday night. Oh, and that's alright. Yeah, yeah. We may drink a little too much, maybe lose our fancy touch. Oh, step out of line of reality. That's the way it should be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no need in asking, 'cause I know you feel the same way too. And there's no need in asking, 'cause I know you feel the same way too. And there's no need in asking, 'cause I know you feel the same way too. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna stone me once. She's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Lighten up if you still can. Don't even try and understand. Just find a place to make your stand and take it easy. Well, I was standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. Such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Come on, baby, don't say maybe. I gotta know that your sweet love is gonna save me. We may lose and we may win, but we will never be here again. So open up, I'm climbing in. So take it easy. Well, I was running down the road trying to loosen my load. Got a world of trouble on my mind. Looking for a lover who won't blow my cover. She's so hard to find. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Come on, baby, don't say maybe. I gotta know that your sweet love is gonna save me. We gotta take it easy. Gotta take it easy. Gotta take it easy. We gotta take it easy.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Alex Baerg, and thank you for subscribing to the Phoenix Sessions from Aeolian Hall. I'm so excited to be not physically in front of you, but still playing and singing some songs for you nonetheless. So if you want, get up and dance, or sit back, relax, take it easy, and enjoy.
He was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. He left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he'd found a key for every door. When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on a road and hanging by a song. Well, the string's already broken and he doesn't really care. It keeps changing fast and it don't last for long. In the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. Shadows from the starlight, softer than a lullaby. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Well, he climbed Cathedral Mountains and saw silver clouds below. He saw everything as far as he could see. And they say that he got crazy once and he tried to touch the sun, but he lost a friend and kept the memory. Now he walks in quiet solitude in the forest and the streams, seeking grace in every step he takes. And his sight is turned inside himself to try and understand the serenity of a clear blue mountain lake. In the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. Talk to God and listen to the casual reply. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Now his life is full of wonder, but his heart still knows some fear of a simple thing he cannot comprehend. Why they try to tear the mountains down to bring in a couple more people, more scars upon the land. In the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. You know he'd be a poor man if he never saw an eagle fly. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High. Rocky Mountain High. Thank you once again for tuning in. Again, my name is Alex Baerg. I'm so happy to be here in Church of the Ascension, where I'm the musical director, filming this concert for you all. So that last song was called Rocky Mountain High. It's by, obviously, the late, great John Denver. Back in 2018, I performed in a show at the Victoria Playhouse in Petrolia called Rocky Mountain High, The Songs and Stories of John Denver. And now, doing that show, obviously, I learned a lot about John Denver, of course. And one of the things that stuck with me about him was that he felt this great responsibility, as I do, I think as a lot of musicians do, in sharing the songs that he wrote with people, because he knew that music has the power to affect and change people. He said it by saying that what you listen to with care becomes a part of you. And it's not just true of audiences, it's true of the people playing the music as well. And my decision to pick up the guitar when I was very, very young has given me so much of the life that I have now. I'm very grateful to it. And John Denver, obviously felt the same way about his guitar, and he showed that to us in this song. This old guitar taught me to sing a love song, showed me how to laugh and how to cry. It introduced me to some friends of mine and brightened up some days. It helped me make it through some lonely nights. Oh, what a friend to have on a cold and lonely night. This old guitar gave me my lovely lady. It opened up her eyes and ears to me. It brought us close together, and I guess it broke her heart. Opened up a space for us to be. What a lovely place and a lovely space to be. This old guitar gave me my life, my living, and all the things you know I love to do. To serenade the stars that shine from a sunny mountainside, but most of all to sing my songs to you. I love to sing my songs to you. Yes, I do, you know. I love to sing my songs to you. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Said I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Carrot and cheese, a silver sun, you best walk her way and watch it shine. Watch her watch the morning come. A silver tear appearing, now I'm crying, ain't I? Gone to Carolina in my mind. There ain't a doubt in no one's mind that love's the finest thing around. Whisper something soft and kind. Hey babe, the sky's on fire, I'm dying, ain't I? Gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Oh, ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Said I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. Dark and silent late last night, I think I might have heard the highway calling. Geese in flight and dogs that bite. Signs that might be omens say I'm going, I'm going, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. And the holy host of others is standing round me. Still I'm on the dark side of the moon, and it feels like it goes on like this forever. Oh, you must forgive me. If I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Said I'm gone to Carolina in my mind. I'm already gone, I'm gone. Say nice things about me, I'm gone. You gotta carry on without me, I'm gone. Gone to Carolina in my
That was, of course, Carolina in My Mind by the incredible James Taylor. I performed in another tribute type show, also at the Victoria Playhouse in Petrolia, called You've Got a Friend. And it was a tribute to James Taylor and Carole King. Now, James Taylor has been my absolute singer-songwriter idol since I was a little kid. I recorded this next song that I'm about to play and did a little video for it, and I posted it on social media. And James Taylor saw it, and he shared it, and he commented on it and stuff, so it made me feel way cooler than I probably actually am. But anyway, this song he also wrote about his home in North Carolina, and it does what I think all the greatest songwriters have the ability to make their songs do, which is that he sings so specifically about his home in North Carolina, and he somehow manages to make it feel like our home too. It's called Copper Line.
Even the old folks, they never knew why they call it like they do. I was wandering since the age of 2 down on Copper Line. Copperhead and Copper Beach, copper kettle sitting side by each, copper coils, cup of Georgia peach down on Copper Line. Half a mile down to Morgan Creek, I'm only living for the end of the week. Hercules and a hog-nosed snake down on Copper Line. We were down on Copper Line. Warm summer nights on the Copper Line slip away past supper time. Wood smoke, moonshine, yeah, down on Copper Line. One time I saw my daddy dance, watched him moving like a man in a trance. Brought it back from the war in France, down on Copper Line. Branch water and tomato wine, creosote and turpentine, sour mash and new moonshine, down on Copper Line. We were down on Copper Line. The first kiss that ever I took, like a page from a romance book. Sky opened and the earth shook, down on Copper Line. Walk me down. Took a fall from a windy height, I only knew how to hold on tight. Pray for love enough to last all night, down on Copper Line. Day breaks and the boy wakes and the dog barks and the bird sings and the sap rises and the angels sigh, yeah. Try to go back as if I could, all spec house and plywood, tore up good, down on Copper Line. Doesn't come as a surprise to me, never touched my memory. Well, I'm lifting up and I'm rising free, down on Copper Line. Half a mile down to Morgan Creek, I'm leaning heavy on the end of the week. Hercules and a hog-nosed snake, down on Copper Line. We were down on Copper Line. Oh, down on Copper Line. Yeah, that's Copper Line by James Taylor. This next song, well, a little story. In 2017, I think it was 2017, if my wife watches this, she will correct me if I'm wrong. In 2017, my wife and I filled up our tiny little Hyundai Accent, tiny little car, from top to bottom with most of our worldly possessions. This was before we had 2 beautiful kids. It was just the 2 of us. Filled our car with luggage and drove from here in London all the way to Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. And we were to spend the next, I think, like 6 to 8 months there. I can't remember exactly how long we were there. We were each doing shows. She was doing Anne and Gilbert, which is the sequel to Anne of Green Gables, and she was playing Diana, and then eventually went on to play Anne as well. And I was doing another, you're seeing a pattern here probably, another tribute show to an artist that I wasn't too familiar with at the time, other than auditioning and other than songs like
Barrett's Privateers or Fogarty's Cove, kind of the standards. I didn't know much about Stan Rogers until I did that show. One of the things that stuck with me about Stan Rogers is that he's so known for being this East Coast artist, and he's actually from Hamilton, Ontario. And that always surprised me because of his amazing ability to sing to the hearts of the everyday person of the Maritimes. And this next song I learned doing that show, and I think it's a message that we could all afford to hear these days. Well, she went down last October in a pouring, driving rain. The skipper, he'd been drinking, and the mate, he felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock, and she was dealt her mortal blow. Then the Mary Ellen Carter settled low. There was just us 5 aboard her when she finally was awash. We worked like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost. And the groan she gave as she went down, it caused us to proclaim that the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Well, the owners wrote her off, not a nickel they would spend. She gave 20 years of service, boys, and met her sorry end. But insurance paid the loss to them, they let her rest below. And they laughed at us and said we had to go. We talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. She's worth $250,000 afloat and at the dock. And with every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. 6 weeks now we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 dives a day in a hard hat suit, and twice I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to go below. Well, we patched her rents, stopped her vents, docked, hatched and portal down, put cables to her fore and aft and girded her around. By tomorrow noon we hit the air and then take up the strain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. For we couldn't leave her there, you see, to crumble into scale. She'd saved our lives so many times, living through the gale. And those laughing drunken rats who left her in her sorry grave, they won't be laughing in another day. And you to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go, turn to and put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain, and like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again, rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again, rise again. That was The Mary Ellen Carter by Stan
Rogers. Now, I'm a huge fan, obviously, of folk music, and one of my favorite eras for folk music is that 60s and 70s, late 60s, early 70s era of folk music in Laurel Canyon with all those artists, you know, like James Taylor, like Joni Mitchell, and artists like that. Now, like, one of my favorite things, the charm of that time, is that you hear all these amazing stories about all of these artists just hanging out together. So you have stories like Joni Mitchell and James Taylor singing all the backups for Carole King on her album Tapestry. Or you hear, better yet, you hear stories about, you know, the Mamas and the Papas hanging out with the Eagles in Joni Mitchell's living room, all playing each other's songs. It's so wild to think about, you know, all these legendary artists. They're almost like mythic figures, at least in my mind, all just hanging out like normal people and playing songs like we do. It's really, really cool. This next song actually comes up in conversation a lot for me, as much as, you know, folk songs often come up in conversation, but this one does. And it's because whenever anybody asks me what, you know, what's your favorite song? Or what do you think the best song ever is? It's this one. And for me, this might just be, I'm probably hyping it up too much, but it might just be the best overall work of songwriting ever. And it's Joni Mitchell, so that checks out. And it is Both Sides Now. Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions. I recall, I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels and dizzy dancing where you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing where you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's love's illusions. I recall, I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way, but now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions. I recall, I really don't know life. I've looked at life from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all.
Yeah, so that was Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell. I honestly, and I stand by it, just played it again. I just stand by it. Greatest song ever written. And I love the Canadian connection in that era of folk music that I was talking about earlier. Whether it was Joni Mitchell writing literally the greatest songs of all time, or it was this next artist being just such a phenomenal musical talent that Crosby, Stills, and Nash had to scoop him up and add his last name to their group. Neil Young is, the quintessential Canadian folk artist. And he was drifting in and out of so many groups at that time, but nothing, in my opinion, quite compares to his solo material. And in that solo material, nothing screams Neil Young quite like this song.
I wanna live, I wanna give. I've been a miner for a heart of gold. It's these expressions I never give, keep me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. Keep me searching for a heart of gold, and I'm getting old. I've been to Hollywood, I've been to Redwood, across the ocean for a heart of gold. I've been in my mind, it's such a fine line that keeps me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. Keeps me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. Keeps me searching for a heart of gold. Keeps me searching and I'm growing old. Keeps me searching for a heart of gold. Keeps me searching and I'm growing old. Keeps me searching for a heart of gold. Keeps me searching and I'm growing old. Keeps me searching for a heart of gold. Keeps me searching and I'm growing old. Keeps me searching for a heart of gold. And I'm getting old. On the Mount Rushmore of folk music, if you will, I think there will be exactly one undisputed face, and that would be Bob Dylan. many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? How many seas must the white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blow it in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years must a mountain exist before it is washed into the sea? Yes, and how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? And how many ears must one man have before he can hear the people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
I'd like to read something for you really quick. Goes like this. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Leonard Cohen, right? Another quintessential Canadian artist in the scene of folk music in the 20th century. And he said this about this next song. He said, "This world is full of conflict and things that cannot be reconciled. But there are moments when we can reconcile and embrace the whole mess. And that is what I mean by hallelujah." Well, I heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah.
faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew ya. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the hallelujah. 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 Maybe there's a God above. All I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew ya. But it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I've walked this floor. You know, I used to live alone before I knew ya. I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end. Thank you so much for subscribing to this series and for tuning in to watch today. I want to thank, of course, Aeolian Hall and the Phoenix Sessions for having me. I want to thank Brian and Clark and Matt, everyone at Aeolian Hall. Thank you so much for having me and for this opportunity. I want to thank the amazing, you can't see him, he's right behind the camera, Mark Payne, my good friend and amazing, talented guy in every way, for coming here to Church of the Ascension and setting up way too many cameras and filming me alone on a stool. I appreciate it very much. Thank you to Church of the Ascension as well for allowing me to use this space safely. Venue space is obviously really hard to come by right now. So I appreciate the church letting me use the space so much. Most importantly, thank you for tuning in. It cannot be overstated the impact that you have subscribing to an online series during this pandemic. Without people like you, there would be no live music in London. And it's just that simple. So thank you so much for subscribing and spending your hard-earned money on the arts. As you watch this, I am most likely doing what I have been doing for the past 14 or so months, which is snuggling up with my 2.5-year-old, getting her ready for bed, while my beautiful wife takes care of our 2-month-old in the next room. And so I would like to dedicate this whole set to my beautiful family who has allowed me to take some time and come do this for you all. And I will leave you with one more John Denver song. And I hope you feel comfortable enough in your homes at this point to sing along with me if you know the lyrics. And I think you'll at least know the chorus to this song. So once again, thank you so much. We will be back on stage again soon. Stay safe. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, flowing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, oh Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning as she calls me. Radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, oh Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, oh take me home. Down country roads. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.